Welcome to Journey Through the Eyes, the EMDR podcast that unveils and explores the transformative power of EMDR therapy. Our mission here is to support those clinicians, both new and seasoned, with those critical conversations and resources about EMDR therapy and building your amazing private practice. I am one of your hosts. I'm Tamera J. Brown. I am the founder and clinical director of Arise Psychotherapy and Coaching Services, PLLC, here in the beautiful city of San Antonio. And I want to introduce you to my beautiful friend and colleague, Miss Kathy Couch.
Hello, Kathy on the couch. I'm here in Twin Falls, Idaho, and I'm owner of Rewired 360 and then Willow Creek Counseling, and we're a training and consulting business out of Idaho.
I am so excited, friend. It is always such a sheer delight for us to get together and to be on this journey through the eyes. And we've got a delicious conversation on the table for today.
Yes, we do. So today we're going to talk about just sort of divine manifestation and being willing to say yes. I think Tamera and I have both been subject to, as we're building our careers and our practices and our lives, it's been a challenge. And so we support each other in that way. And we were having a conversation and we wanted to share that with the audience so we can begin letting you know that you matter and that we're here and you're part of our bigger picture journey, and begin having these discussions to encourage you to say yes and take those risks. And Tamera, there was a quote that you shared with me a moment ago. Would you share that with our audience?
I would love to, Kathy. Well, and it comes from none other than one of the fathers of our field, and that's Viktor Frankl. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, that which wants to give light must first endure burning, right? That which gives light must endure the burning. And I came across that quote last week, I believe. And boy, did it, number one, resonate, right?
Yeah.
And then also, what it also did, Kathy, was it helped to bring balance of what I like to call the light, the good of all that we do, and then the tough stuff that we have to do as humans,
Yeah.
as professionals, and as women who are juggling many, many roles. It was just a beautiful marriage between, and that made deep sense of what it really is like to take this journey.
Yeah, because, and we talk about this for new and seasoned clinicians and just anyone in general, it takes a risk to follow what it is that you're meant to do. And when I left a job where I was at, I just decided, I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to do what's in front of me. And if the universe decides that it's time for me to take that leap, then I'm going to do it. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's a certain amount of fear, isn't it?
It is, you
And
know,
faith, right? But
yeah. Well, I think if I can just keep it real, I know that for many people, including myself, for those that this does resonate with, I think it's just simply human to experience fear. I know clinically and all the spaces where people are trying to heal, grow, and thrive. I think sometimes the experience or the emotion, the feeling of fear often gets a bad rap, if you will, like as if it's a plague or if it's the black sheep of the emotional experience of the human experience that we just want to avoid. But if you ask me, I think fear is just natural. I think it's human. And I think that it will be so serving for us, especially as clinicians who are, trailing or blazing a trail in private practice. Um, One that we need to become uncomfortably comfortable with.
yes.
you know.
As you know, I have twins. And I wasn't expecting on having twins. I was 39 years old, and I went to
Mhm.
the doctor at 20 weeks. And, my doctor was out, and I just remember this feeling, and I can't explain it, but like something's going to go down.
Mhm.
And so I went in, and, my husband is making these jokes about twins, and really I had no idea. But when the doctor came back and said it was twins, it was like, so shocking, right, to my world. And I thought, can I do this?
Mhm.
Now they're
Mhm.
4, today is actually their birthday, and they turned 4 today, Valentine's Day, Valen babies. But it's
Wow.
like, I can do it now, but that fear of like, can I do this? And I don't
Wow.
necessarily believe in that tenet, like the Lord won't give you more than you can handle. I don't
Right.
necessarily believe in all of that, but I also do believe like we can do things we didn't know we could either. And so that's the message today is if there's something that's been burning in your mind or your brain or some inkling, just follow it and be willing, even if it's scary, companion alongside of it.
Right. Right. You know, and I think that that's the beautiful part, honestly, of being a student on the journey. I think that a lot of the times that when we are on this journey and we're doing all these new things and while juggling all the stuff that we've got to juggle, Kathy, right? And as therapists, clinicians, and teachers, and all this stuff, we want to do it right away. We want to have all the non, all the moving, all the stuff we want to, but it's the path of the whole uncertainty. It's the path of recognizing that my brain and body, when it doesn't have that certainty or when it doesn't have that roadmap, because we're going somewhere we haven't been before,
Yeah.
you
And I
know?
think people have said to me, at least, you can't meet this milestone. You can't
Mm,
get there. That's out of reach. In my soul, I just knew that I was going to be doing something with that. And that's why I was asking, but there was sort of gatekeepers that said the naysayers, no, you can't. And it's like, yes, I can. And I'm going to do it in half the time. And I did.
you see, and that's that whole part of, and I think that, I loved how you just shared that, because on the pathway and thinking about Viktor Frankl's quote, if you're going to give light, you got to endure the burning. And you're going to come across people who are going to tell you no.
Well, and you're to have your people, like you're my person I could call in the middle of the night just
Mm-hmm.
crying and just be like,
Yeah.
hey, I've got you. Find your person like that because you have to tell the truth. One of my great mentors always said, no matter what that truth is, find the person that can withstand it and hold it with you.
You see, and oh, girl, this is so juicy. And I'm serious when we really lean into that because, Kathy, we're going to this brings to my mind. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. I don't remember where I was, but I came across this conversation about people who fly airplanes and how there's something on the way up called the demon barrier, right? That on the way up, and if you've ever been in a plane and it's all this resistance and everything, and we feel all this turbulence and everything until it breaks through the demon barrier. And this is not me saying for our listening audience that I'm calling the people who, are blocking or who can come across as gatekeepers or the people who have limiting beliefs, demons. I'm just saying it's that
The metaphor.
resistant wall, right, as a metaphor of what wants to stop you from moving beyond. Okay. And how anytime you're elevating, you're going to come across all of the messages and people who have not been where you've been. And maybe they did let their nose stop them and then they settled, but it takes courage, it takes boldness, And the thing that I love that you and I could probably, agree with is the fact that we need safe relationships that allow us to heal and grow.
In an authentic way, right? In an
Yeah.
authentic way where I can go to you and say, Tamara, I really screwed that one up, didn't I? And you don't shame me. You just say, we got this.
Hmm.
Right? And I don't have to be dishonest with myself about the truth
Right.
as I do it, you know?
And the powerful thing with that as well is knowing that um, there are people who are here that the divine will send for us for that amazing support, you know.
And just to be open to it, you say all the time, I heard this, I keep hearing this, voice or message. And that's, so I just had to say it, or I had to do it at that moment. And those yearnings, I think, inside of us, if not now, when, and if not you, who,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
just taking hold of that. And I think embracing that is going to be very important. So for our audience, I would just want you to think about, what is it that maybe you've been wanting to do or wanting to think about doing, so that you can use our platform to help motivate you, so that you can think in the future, how do I get there and what are the steps I need to take? Some people like meditating, some people like walking, but what is it that is going to get you to that next stage and begin thinking that internal message and just taking a little step? Maybe it's talking to someone, maybe it's visiting someone, maybe it's not even involved with people. It's, you know, just thinking about those things that you can offer. I don't know why I need to go to the store at 2 o'clock, but I'm going to do it.
you know and it's what I like to say, that Kathy, is that's that internal GPS.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or the intuition, the global positioning system
Yeah.
that, in my view, we all have, right? It's just that sometimes we get caught in the conundrum, in the, just the chaos of life, right? Okay. It's just that whole, just the flows, the waves of life that sometimes creates a lot of noise, where we're more attuned. And you remember girl, I'm telling my age, you remember how the old school radios in the car before we got CDs and all
Yeah.
sophisticated, and how you used to have to get that dial, and in order
Right
to get the
on the
right
spot.
station, okay, get all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
static. And it's like that because we live in a world, in a society, and I just want to say this just because, that moves us out of the inner sanctuary, where the message for direction really
Right.
is. And we're so attuned to all the people, all the things, and we're trying to feel and find our way externally. But the sweet spot, the real GPS, where we can find our north, our south, our east, our west, is when we tune into that GPS. And it could be a little scary to do that because we're so used to following the
Yes.
narratives of what
Yeah.
people say and all the things, right? But that's what that reminds me of. And I just want to encourage us, right, to begin to, if I can say this, it's the age old adage that says, practice what you preach. All of the things that we teach our clients about mindfulness, taking time to calm, the tools we have for journaling, and all the things that we start practicing and utilizing that, so we can, like that fine tune dial, get back to that inner GPS that has those divine messages on, leading us for what is to come,
Because
if that
sometimes we
makes
don't
sense.
know. Sometimes we're sowing seeds that we don't even know.
you know isn't that something? And the one thing that in our work together, in the spaces that we're holding for each other, both privately and then in the communities you're building with Rewire 360, which is amazing, is what I'm learning is that if we just slow down, the answer is always there. You know how you have the clients, and when we're working with our clients and with the clients, they want to know, they come with all these questions and they want us to offer them advice and tell them
Right.
what to do. But if you are a clinician and you sharpening them tools, you know not to offer the clients advice and to see them as a person who is empowered, wise, no matter the mess or the chaos that they may be journaling or navigating through, but that you are in fact sitting in front of a human being who is brilliant,
Yeah.
may feel broken, but that's not their true identity. And if that is true for the amazing clients we serve, it's also true for us. We just got to, in a sense, take the time to dial in.
Well, and the intention, right? The intention of our
Mhm.
communities at Rewired and Arise Psychotherapy is to offer a place of inclusion. There's so many people that have put up blocks to progress, and our job is to advocate and take down those blocks and barriers as much as we can. There still has to be some guideline, a
Mhm.
semi-permeable parameter, but
Mhm.
we've done the work. And
Right.
now we're creating and forging this pathway. And I wanted to mention this too, for all the BIPOC individuals out there, there's a scholarship. If you want to be certified or become a consultant through the EMDR International Association, we'll put it in the notes. So our job is to also help create more clinicians, a more
Mhm.
diverse community, and a community of inclusion, right? And so
Mhm.
how do we do that? And it's through those initiatives of promoting that message that we're doing that.
Mhm. And I think that with so much that is going on, and I'm looking forward for future conversations we're having, and I love um, just you standing in solidarity with the BIPOC community. And even in the work that we're doing in the community that you set your intention to build for that inclusion. Um, I've been able to, as a woman of color who didn't have a lot of pleasant experience. And I did have those gatekeepers who basically told me, no, EMDR is out of my reach. And, basically say, stay in your lane and all these
Right.
different things. But it wasn't until I got into this space, literally, because again, we, you know, in my mind, right, the strong survive, right? The strong survive, but it is those who have safe people and community who get the opportunity to heal and thrive. And that's what we're here to do, right? And then we're all in our own right because there's enough space in the universe for us all. We're all here to take up space. We're all here to take our seat and to occupy and to do the amazing work and to bless people, families, ourselves, and our communities with the amazing gifts that we're here to serve. But we've got to get into that space of realizing that sense of deservability, that you deserve to be on this amazing adventure, that you deserve to grow and to learn and to recognize. And this word that I think is often underutilized in some spaces, overutilized in some spaces, but not enough attention is really given to potential. And we've got so much potential. And it's not until we do those amazing things like giving ourselves permission to say yes,
Yeah.
to obey that little small voice that comes from our gut.
The gut. I love the internal GPS,
Mm-hmm. You
you know.
know, that we get to unlock, girl, and see the stuff you really made of. See the stuff I'm really made of. We have no idea
Oh,
what we really
we
can
have a
do.
planetarium here, and I took my daughter to the planetarium. It's called We're All Made of Stardust. And it talks about how we're all made of hydrogen, which fuses to helium, which, then went to the Big Bang and the universe and evolution. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. We're all stardust. That's the message today. We're
You
all
know,
stardust.
I love that. I love when I'm with clients, and especially the clients who have a spiritual path or practice. I love using the analogy of stardust. I love using the metaphor.
And my daughter loved it. Can we
Mm.
go see the stars? And, just really infusing that mind of science, even for females. And I'm aware I have two young sons. I'm aware they'll be white males. So what's the culture and environment that I want to bring them up in? And I'm fully aware of that.
Isn't it? And I think that's beautiful. And that's another gift, I believe. God, the universe, whatever feels good to people, you know, that's another gift that I think was given to you and I, because you and I have talked about how we get to be in our corner of the universe, those role models, that light, to say to our what I call sister friends and cousins, we may not all look the same, but we are all here and we are of all the same species, of the same human DNA. And so we are all really in some ways, forms and fashion, human family. And we are here to be teachers,
Yeah.
to be role models. And we are demonstrating something very powerfully, that just because we look different and we're different shades and we come from different regions doesn't mean that we cannot live, play, and build together.
And that doesn't mean that only people of those other communities need to be the ones talking about that either.
Right.
Right? And so being advocates in that way together as a team, it's like, we've got this, let's move it forward so we can
Yes.
build that culture and community uh, here. So we're doing internal GPS today,
Mhm.
and we're all made of stardust. That's what we wanted to work on with you today. We were encouraging you to find out within yourself, what is your internal GPS? Is there something you've been hanging on to that's going to shift your compass in a direction you need to go? If so, what is it? We'd love to hear from you. We are Journey Through the Eyes. We do have an email. We can put that in the chat as well. And if you'd like to join our show and have a topic you'd like to discuss that resonates with you, write into us. We'd be
Mhm.
happy to schedule you. We have 3 speakers for the next 3 weeks. So that's going to be awesome. We're
And
so excited.
delicious.
Yes. And we are here every Friday. We are launching at 6 a.m. So you can look for our repeated podcasts there. I'm at rewired360.com. Tamera is at Arise Psychotherapy LLC, and that'll be in our meeting notes. Anything else, Tamera, before we close out here?
I just am so excited. I love us. I love what we're doing. And I love how we're having these organic, human,
Yeah.
spiritual, beautiful, and inclusive conversations to share with our listening audience. So,
Yes, it's our intention. Okay, listeners, visit us, like us, follow us, and remember every Friday to set your alarm on your phone for our new podcast. I have it launched on Rewired 360 as well in the podcast section, and you can get it on Apple and Spotify.
see you soon.
All right, friends, see you soon.